Right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to this town council meeting. Various announcements. If there's a fire, exits out that way, out there, or out the front where you came in. So apologies for absence. We have a few apologies today. So we have councillors Alan George, Emma Blackmore. I think Councillor Tim McStain, we should give apologies because he's dealing with a medical emergency. He may turn up later, but I doubt it. So this is Tim and Roger Whitfield. So I've put that there. So thank you. So declaration of councillors' interests. So if any councillor has got any other personal or financial interest in any of the items that are coming up later, could they now make that known? I'm looking around, so there are no declarations of interest. As always, if you think there is one later on, just put your hand up. Okay, I'm going to switch the agenda around because I can see we've got people from the various community groups, which help us out a lot in Portishead. So thank you for coming. So we'll do yours first if you like, and if you want to go after that, if you find some of the rest of the agenda a little less interesting, that's fine. Okay. So perhaps, so also before I start, I mean, thank you to all of you. You do a fantastic and tremendous job for Portishead. So let me say that at the beginning. So we're very appreciative and proud to, provide grants and so forth to enable you to continue your work. So thank you on behalf of the council and the community here. So citizens' advice, would you like to go first?
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, this is my first one of these I've done in Portishead in person. Last year was remote. So because it isn't the end of the financial year yet, we don't yet have our full year review, unfortunately. So I hope that you don't mind that this evening I thought I'd give you a little snapshot of year on year to kind of show you how things have grown and changed in Portishead. Also, my name is Sam. Sorry, I've got to introduce myself. We've just got a little 3 slides on the report that I just wanted to use to illustrate how things have changed. So I've compared Q3 this financial year to the year before. So that's October to December 25 against October to December 24. What these figures tell us is that we've seen a 10% increase in Portishead residents being seen in person since we started in the Folk, which is fabulous news because that's what we'd hoped for, to make the service more accessible, to make it more open and welcoming, which has worked really well. I must say it's been a pleasure working with Claire. She's fabulous. And it's just generally working really well with the wellbeing service advice. And I'll tell you a little bit later about how the service delivery is continuing to evolve in a really positive way. I hope you'll agree. What you can also see is that in comparison between the 2 years, the issues we're helping clients with, the activities that we're helping them with have gone up massively. So issues are up 69% year on year and actions are up 53%. So whilst we're seeing only a fraction more Portishead clients, we are dealing with them in a way that means that we're acting on their behalf more often, we're taking more actions on their behalf, and we're working much harder for them. It also shows as well that as the world continues to get more complex, so do Portishead residents issues when they come in to see us. So we very rarely now see clients where they come in with a singular issue. So generally we will see most clients in the first instance to unravel how those multiple issues have all tied together so that then we can put actions in place for each individual stream of that issue. this can take some time, but the lovely thing about being here in Portishead is that consistently Portishead residents will see the same faces. So it really builds those relationships. So Sue has been our advisor in Portishead for as long as I've been the advice service manager, so at least since 2022. And she is quite loved in Portishead. Like the pictures I get on a Friday of the presents that the clients bring in for her, we don't get that anywhere else. So we very much appreciate how generous the Portishead residents are. But it just gives you a bit of an overall picture of how the complexity for Portishead residents is changing. So overall, doing even more work on more complex issues for a few more clients. Obviously, we will have the full year report by the third week of April, and then we'll send that across. And if you have any questions about that, obviously, please just let me know. I'm always more than happy to speak about those. I've also included a quick case study, which I've kind of shortened down a little bit more than for the original report, but I wanted to highlight this because it shows that even when we have residents that are ultimately so capable of dealing with their own issues, because this person in particular, she knew exactly what she was hoping to achieve. She wanted to put an affordable repayment plan in place for her debt. She had taken that issue on board, that she needed to resolve it. She had taken the actions to do that. And actually it was the organisation that was dealing with the debt that wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. And sometimes it is about us just intervening and making that phone call and saying, well, actually, the clients come to Citizens Advice and they're telling us this, but actually, you know, the rules are really this. And ultimately, the client got what she wanted. She was accepted as a vulnerable client, which she should have been from the day she called them anyway. And she got her income and expenditure to make her repayment plan. And she actually took the time to write us a thank you email, which was, thank you emails are the most appreciated thing in the world, by the way. We love a thank you email or an update. And it just goes to show that people think sometimes Citizens Advice is dealing with always the most vulnerable people, but actually we help even extremely capable and confident people, because sometimes systems don't work, and it's never that person's fault that the systems don't work. So that was kind of what I wanted to talk about in terms of the work that we've done in Portishead, and then I just wanted to give a couple of service updates. So just to say thank you so much to the Town Council for allowing us to deliver a service alongside Claire from the phone call. That has been immensely successful from our perspective. So we have regular drop-ins. We are expanding all the time. So currently we have Sue here on a Friday, and Phil joins her. Phil also, I believe, does Teen Tech in Portishead as well. We've had one of our veteran advisors leave, but we have a new lady who has joined us last year, who's coming along this Friday to see if she would also like to join the Portishead team, because we have a Portishead team now, which is wonderful. And also, since the end of February, we have a MAPS accredited debt caseworker in attendance every other week. So it means that people don't have to travel to Weston or speak to someone on the phone to get that really detailed qualified debt advice. So we hope that that's helpful and useful to the people of Portishead. That was kind of everything I wanted to talk about. Thank you for listening. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Yeah. Any questions? Go on, Mike.
Thank you. I was just going to ask, I mean, do Clevedon and Nailsea also have a structural CANS group meeting regularly?
Yeah.
How do we perform in sort of relation to the other towns?
So the service that's delivered in each town is slightly different. So in Clevedon, we have one advisor attend each week on a Wednesday. In Nailsea, we have one advisor, one triage, and here we kind of have our biggest group outside of Weston. So trying to compare the three is a bit like comparing apples with pears because it's not the same delivery in any kind of perspective. But I can certainly have a look into those figures and come back to you if that would be helpful.
Do you find that people are coming over from outside Portishead to come to this session?
Generally not so much. I was expecting it to be a bit higher than what it was just because it's much more of an open door where it's kind of just us and Claire. We operate out of 65 High Street in Nailsea. We operate out of the town council offices in Clevedon. So each location as well kind of lends its way to a certain type of attendance, things like that. But we have seen that we've had many from the other towns pop across to us. Hopefully that means it's because we are doing a good job of publicising all the doors into the service, which we try to have as many as possible.
Thanks. That's brilliant. So, Mike.
Yeah, partly for other people's information. Thank you. Here in Portishead, we have Claire's role.
Yes.
Provides like a first point of contact and makes referrals to Citizens Advice and other organisations. How, there may not be one pattern, but do they have similar type of roles in other parts of Somerset? And if not, how does it affect the service that you provide here by having Claire as against other areas which don't have that role?
I think probably in terms of town councils, the most comparable is probably Nailsea, where they have Trudy who runs 65 High Street, and she is close to a similar role. And she is again really good at taking referrals for us and generally helping anybody who comes in through the door. And she has a really wide knowledge, like Claire does, instead of the things going on in Nailsea. So I think those two services are kind of the most comparable, and it does make a really positive difference because it gives that really holistic approach, which is what is really important. Because I mean, in Weston, we also have a social prescribing team as well. So the social prescribing in Clevedon, Nailsea and Portishead is generally Curo. And again, they do similar things, but they do much more of the well-being work, making sure people are aware of community groups and things like that. So it means that we can focus more purely on the advice and the actions from the advice, which it just plays to each other's strengths really and makes it a more complete wraparound type of service, I think.
Thank you. Steve, I see we've got the SLA for Ken's item 7 as Sam sitting there. We might as well do that item. Basically, there's just been we've had some discussions. There's been just a couple of small changes to the service level agreement that we have between you. Does any councillors have any comments on that? They're pretty straightforward. Yeah, just let us know.
Yeah, so there's just, as you said, a couple of minor amendments, mainly relating to service hours and staffing. So just to clarify the number of staff that needs to be here and the timings, making sure that we're compliant with local working regulations, and also some minor amendments to the service reviews and reporting in terms of meetings and the number of reports that are done.
Less superior for duration of the SLA.
Yeah. It's 3 years. Is it 3 years now?
Yeah, so previously it was 5 years,
Yeah.
reduced it to 20 years,
Yeah. Okay.
just to allow people.
Okay, so we've got a recommendation that the town clerk be authorised to finalise and sign the amended SLA with Citizens Advice North Somerset on behalf of the council. So, I'd like to propose that. Mike, Janet, seconded. All in favour? Okay, thank you very much. All right, that's done that. So okay, thank you for all you do and thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for
Appreciate
having me. Have a lovely rest of the evening.
it.
I love to that my children are watching me on my
Okay, right, Portishead Youth Centre. Kim?
No, thank you for having me.
It's all right, pleasure.
So yeah, so I sent over a report in advance, which I hope you've had time to have a little look through. But yeah, I was just gonna go through a few highlights if that's okay. And if anyone's got any questions, then feel free to ask. So the last year's been ever as busy as normal at Portishead Youth and Community Centre, and going into 2026, we're really excited because this year is our 60th year anniversary, which for a youth and community centre to have been open for that long is, we think, an incredible achievement in itself. So yeah, we've survived austerity cuts and cuts to funding and COVID, and yeah, just many years of working really hard. So we're incredibly proud of what we provide for the town, and I hope that our report shows the difference that we're making as well to people every day. So we've had some new staff join us this year, which has been brilliant. So bringing new expertise, and new ways of thinking and working. So yeah, that's something that we're really excited to expand on and develop further. So James joined us as our new lead youth worker in January, so he's still quite new to the role, but yeah, lots of high hopes for him, and developing our provision even further than what we're doing. And we're really proud of Donna, who has completed her level 3 youth work qualification. For us, it's really important to have qualified youth workers delivering our sessions. It is more challenging to get qualified youth workers in post because there aren't many local opportunities for training and development, so yeah, her completing that is a massive support to our young people and the professionalism of our delivery as well. So overall, in terms of our kind of summary for the year, we've seen an increase in attendance numbers across all of our different areas of delivery, and we've seen lots of new families joining in with activities and sessions. So we've been trying to work really hard to make sure that we're offering something for everybody, and as you'll all know, we deliver activities for anyone from newborn babies through to senior citizens and everything in between, but we've been really focusing on different age groups over the last year in particular, especially around school holiday activities for children that we typically wouldn't work with like during term time. So that's been really positive. So those are aims and targets that we are consistently working towards, and so yeah, the rest of the report is kind of a summary of each of those different measures. So in terms of our preschool and family work, we have seen an increase in attendances this year, and these kind of data points were set nearly 5 years ago, and are things that we're still trying to work really hard to meet our total goal. But I think we've done really well, especially with part of the year being on a slightly reduced staffing capacity until we're able to fill new roles. But one of the things that I think is most important about this area of work is the impact that it's having on the mental health and well-being of children and adults that come to our sessions. You might just look at our activities and think, well, that's a nice place to take my children and they can let off some steam and kind of play with others. But actually, it's having a real impact on children in terms of social skills, communication, separation anxiety is quite significant in preschool children. So the fact that we're getting these kind of testimonials and this feedback from people that are using our service about the difference it's making in a deeper way is really positive and something we're really proud of. We started collecting data in a slightly different way with parents about their children and becoming school ready. So there's a lot of stuff in the press about children who are turning up at school, age 4 in reception class, who might struggle with some kind of quite basic skills like being able to put their own coat on, and there's children that still need help with toileting a lot more than what we might have seen maybe in years previously. Obviously there's lots of different reasons for that, but we would like to do our best to provide opportunities for children to become as ready as possible for starting school, so they can engage with other children, they can play safely and kindly, they can listen to instructions and sit and take part in activities. So it all helps them being able to make that transition from going to nursery or childminders to then going into school, and what those new expectations will be on them as individuals. So we started collecting with parents some data around what their child can do now, and how frequently that they can display that behaviour, and then we're going to continue to revisit those individuals and see what difference the data shows the longer those individuals come to our sessions on a regular basis. In terms of our youth work provision, over the last 18 months or so, we've been actively using our new website, which includes a membership database, booking and payment system all in one. We've had some really good numbers in terms of the individuals that are on roll with us. So that could be from anything from holiday activities, trips, it could be our weekly sessions that we deliver all year round, but we have seen huge increases in the numbers of people that are sending their children to our activities, and yeah, kind of like nearly 5,500 individual visits to sessions over the course of, well, this is part year, because so the dates but yeah, we think that's incredible for that many people coming through the doors, engaging with activities and wanting to come back, most importantly. Our one-to-one mentoring and specialist projects are a real key part of our delivery. A lot of children and young people we're finding are liking to come to us to learn something, and as a result they socialise with each other, whereas previously like youth club might have been seen more as you come to socialise and you might learn something as a result of being there. So there has been a big shift, especially over the last 10 years in terms of the way that individuals engage with services like ours. So we're focusing a lot of time and energy on delivering projects, offering opportunities for individuals to do qualifications with us, or specialist things that are kind of a bit niche potentially, and things that they can't necessarily access anywhere else, and we're seeing really positive engagement with those types of activities, and we think that that's a really good basis for developing our youth provision. So this is about our social and emotional scores for individuals that come to us for kind of more specific support. Our data is a little bit flatter than it was last year, partly due to kind of staffing capacity, where we've had roles vacant for a period of time during this last year, in terms of being able to deliver some of our more specialist work. But we know what areas that we need to work on, and got a clear plan in terms of how we develop that work, and we're actively sourcing new ways of being able to collect this data and then this information from our young people as well, to make sure that it's not a case of just giving out questionnaires every 6 weeks that don't necessarily mean anything after a while, because they just become part of a routine. So making sure that the answers that are being given are really informed, so that our data is as accurate as possible. But yeah, we are proud that we are still making a difference to people, and there are areas, especially in terms of young people's interactions with peers, trying to encourage them to make more opportunities around social activities. It's something that's going to massively help with a lot of these areas that we're monitoring. So then going on to young people and being part of our organisation. So this is something that's been key to us for the last 60 years and will continue to be so. Young people and having the opportunity to have a sense of ownership of the centre and being part of a bigger project, being part of somewhere where they feel safe, comfortable, welcome and valued is highly important to us. And we've worked with a huge number of young people over the last year, supporting them with completing Duke of Edinburgh volunteering, and for some of them coming on to be able to pick up paid casual employment with us, working at the weekends in our cafe and supporting our parties and events. So we're incredibly proud of the opportunity that we can give to young people to have that first step in the door in terms of employment and life skills. They're an absolute credit to us. So yeah, that's something that we think is really, really important. In terms of our ASDAN qualifications and courses, this report is a part-year report, and our data is a little bit lower than what I would like it to be. But again, a lot of this will come down to the staffing capacity that we've had this year. But again, we now have some really good concrete plans in place in terms of future courses that we want to deliver, and ways that we're going to make that happen. In terms of young people's, again, taking responsibility for things that happen in their building, we've had young people helping us to organise, deliver and advertise band nights. We've had young people starting to lead their own projects and activities, which is amazing. They've come in kind of being fresh to the game of Dungeons and Dragons, and then after 6 months or so, they're then leading their own sessions, which is just amazing. That they're taking that responsibility. And we're still actively including young people in consultation. We want to find out what it is that they want to engage with, why it is that it's important for them to come to the youth centre, and make sure that what we're delivering is relevant and accessible. And we've had the opportunity as well to really celebrate a lot of young people and their talents and their skills and provide them with opportunities that they might not have elsewhere. So we did an amazing trip to Pineapple Dance Studios in London for our street dance group. We've done lots of pop-up projects, themed sessions, and new qualifications that we've had available for young people. So and we were also incredibly proud for our part in the carnival last year as the first year back, and winning a trophy. So again, all of those things are memories that young people are making, and things that they will look back on over many years to come. So in terms of what people are saying, we love to get testimonials from people and an insight into people's opinions of the centre. And the kind of key themes that I've taken from these statements are about the feeling of being safe, feeling welcome, about support around social and emotional well-being and mental health, and about reducing anxiety and supporting individuals who may struggle with engaging in social situations. We have seen a large increase in individuals attending our sessions who have a range of different disabilities and needs, and the fact that we're seen so highly regarded by people, by parents, as a place where they know that their child will fit in, that they will be supported, nurtured, looked after, cared for and valued, is something that we're incredibly proud of. And then last but not least, our work with seniors. Again, we deliver a huge number of different activities and sessions, and we've had some amazing trips out. Our Christmas party is always really well attended, with up to 70 individuals come in for a 2-course Christmas dinner, with a visit from Santa with presents, which always goes down well. And also lots of new people joining as well. We have seen some of our members have moved on to care homes, or have moved out of the area to live closer to family. So it's constant, our area of work as a whole is about constantly providing what is needed for the people that can access us at the time, and that's constantly changing, and the people that we are kind of working to work with are constantly changing as well. So these numbers you know, they do fluctuate and change, but again, the kind of feedback that we have got about the difference coming to our sessions is making to people is what makes it all worthwhile. Giving people a space to see other individuals get out of the house, join in with activities, listen to guest speakers, and have like a sense of ownership for themselves of the centre as well. We talk a lot about young people, you know, feeling part of the centre, but for a lot of our senior citizens, you know, there's a group that's the Jam and Marmalade Committee that made lots of chutneys and jams to sell for Macmillan. You know, they want to do fundraising for us. You know, they take part in helping to plan the sessions and organising what they're going to have for lunch the next month. So it's a real collaborative effort, and I think giving people the opportunity to all contribute in some way, shape, or form for everyone, and you know, it means a lot to people. So we're incredibly grateful for all the support from the town council and the other organisations that we work with in order to make that happen. Yeah, we look forward to continuing to make a difference for the remainder of our SLA. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, organised chaos.
What's happened? It's going on. That's better. All right. Thank you very much for all your work you've done. How you do, Janet? Do you have a question?
Janet. Very much.
That was amazing and well deserved. Can I ask you a couple of things? And I should just ring you up and ask you really, but do you have much contact with what do they call them? Right Start or Good Start now?
Sure Start.
Sure, it used to be Sure Start.
The Children's Centre.
Yeah.
Got
back to being Sure Start.
I'm to be sure, I'm not entirely sure, but we refer to them as the Children's Centre. So yeah, we have had Helena come and visit our centre and see what goes on, and yeah, she's been really impressed with the range of activities, and yeah, has got information so she can refer people that live maybe closer to us to our activities.
It's the becoming school ready
Yeah.
is a big issue, and I wondered if you did joint work with them about that.
Not a huge amount at the moment. No, it's more so about them referring people to us.
Yeah.
But we do work with a lot of different organisations that support with preschool children, and we work really closely with like primary schools and especially early years departments, and also nurseries. Yeah, just to understand kind of what's going on, you know, what kind of challenges are different organisations seeing, where are there potentially gaps in what we're delivering and what we said, and see where we might be able to help to fulfil that need.
And thank you. That's brilliant, because one of the biggest issues is this readiness for school. It's all over the papers and everything, so it's really important. School refusers, do you still have groups of school refusers who come to you rather than go to school?
Yeah, so we deliver an alternative learning provision. So there's many different reasons for school absence, and we work with a number of schools in the local areas of both primary and secondary to provide support where possible as a kind of stepping stone back into going to school. For some individuals, it might be that they are on a waiting list for a specialist provision, and as again in the media and in the press, we all know that there's huge challenges with regards to places in specialist schools locally for children. So yeah, so we provide you know, what we can in terms of support to provide access to an education, and you know, an opportunity to, you know, where possible, engage with other children and other young people, and also just, yeah, generally have some structure as well, support around social health, social and emotional health, which is quite often one of the really challenging situations for a lot of the individuals that we work with, is that there's some form of anxiety or trauma around school, and it's helping to break down the kind of the barriers around going back into into a classroom, and what we can do to help with that.
Thank you. David, yeah. Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you very much, Kim. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. So thanks very much. So I should have said, are you okay if we share the slides, because we'll publish those, because I think obviously a lot of people would like to know what you do, because it's an amazing amount. Nailsea Transport. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm Kate. I'm the business and community manager now at Nailsea District Community Transport. So I'm actually coming up being there a year now. It's absolutely flown by. But it's nice to meet you all, and thank you so much for the support you have shown us. It's absolutely amazing. So I'll just whiz through the first stuff so you all know what we're all about. This is the area we cover. So we've started to change some of the way we show the areas we cover, because obviously we've got Nailsea in the name. So sometimes that fools people. So we're starting to do a lot more work on making sure people understand the area that we deliver in. You'll may or may not notice that our minibus numbers have increased. So we have 2 new buses since last year. They're 2 17-seaters, and we've taken those on because we've taken on some home to school transport, but outside of the school times, obviously it gives us a huge opportunity to use some bigger minibuses. I can have the next slide, thank you. We are still offering the same services to your area, so obviously shopping, the dialer rides, day trips 2 a week, and we also do hires. We are trying to do a lot more work with the hires, and really increase the collaborative work that we're doing with other groups and organizations. You know, you've heard about some of the work that goes on, like the senior work that we're talking about. Really what we're about is making sure that transport is never a barrier to someone accessing the amazing groups and services that we all know are there. But for some people, it's being able to get to those groups, and maybe not, you know, it might be accessible transport, which is important, but it also might be confidence, and it might be needing somebody to get them door to door in order for them to access those services. So a big piece of work for me is that I'm really trying to get to know more and more groups in the areas that we serve, and understand how we play our part in that puzzle to make sure that transport doesn't become a barrier for anybody. If you go one more, brilliant. So since April 2025, we've delivered 147 shopping trips in Portishead. So we are now offering 4 shopping opportunities every week. So we do an AM and a PM on a Monday, and an AM and a PM on a Friday. So that's picking up within Portishead, and then they can choose whether they go to which supermarket they go to. Sometimes they go to the high street. The drivers will kind of drop them wherever they want to be. So we have a couple of spaces on a Monday PM shop now. So we are looking to try and fill those spaces. Again, it's a bit of a marketing job for us to make sure people do know about our service. 221 dialer rides, that's a lot of those will be medical appointments, so BRI, Southmead, that kind of thing, or visits to care homes often, so visiting family if spouses then become, you know, is in their care home and they do the visits weekly. We've done 13 hires by 2 local groups, so that is people attending a regular group. And we do offer 2 day trips a week. The data on that is hard at the moment, although our database is getting redone. So next time you're going to have the most amazing data for day trips. But we do every Wednesday and Thursday, we offer a day trip. Garden centres, Bourton on the Water, Weston, you name it. We are doing more now than we did before to have member input. We now have a members ambassador group. So you've got a member ambassador in Portishead. Her name is Sylvia. She's brilliant. So she has absolutely taken it upon herself to make sure she gets input from other members in Portishead. We meet 4 times a year. They feed in and then we react to their input, which is brilliant. I mean, we are probably all very well aware of the impacts of community transport. And as I said, we are just as an organisation trying to do everything we can to make sure that everyone that could benefit from our transport knows we exist. We've still got some work to do around that, actually. Although we're serving the members, we are serving very well, I think, I hope. there's more we can do to make sure we really are available to those who need us. And often that might be through other groups, through social prescribers, you know, that kind of thing, because sometimes these people don't come to us as individuals, but the more work we can do to make sure people are aware of what we can offer, the better, I think. If you go down one more, there's a few quotes from our members. You guys can read this at a later date. Finances wise, so this just gives you a bit of an idea of our projected expenditure for over the next year. So it's looking like just under £350,000. The income is split in that table, so you can see that, you know, our membership and fares do the 32%. The rest is fundraised or through contracts. The contracted services are the home to school that I mentioned. We took those on. We started in September, first time we've ever done it. Huge pivot for us, but losing North Somerset Council funding meant we had to do a pivot. We've done that without impacting any of the services we offer. There is additional staff and additional buses, but it's giving us a really brilliant surplus that's supporting that core delivery, because that's what it's about. It's how do we make sure we can serve our core audience, keep costs affordable for those people, and to be able to support the people that cannot maybe afford certain costs. So the home to school is really helping that. But obviously on top of that, we do a lot of fundraising, a lot of grants and trusts, and we have amazing local town and parish councils that obviously give, which is just brilliant. This year we've got a few major things we're working on. So at the moment, we're a community benefit society. It's been brilliant for the last 30 years, but it's not a very well known status. We are looking to become a CIO, which would give us registered charity status. It will open lots more doors. Now we are having to explore the fundraising environment more. It will definitely open doors for us as an organisation and give us just a brilliant foundation. That is going to be put in front of the members, because obviously they vote at the AGM, which is in July. We are doing lots of work on our branding and our increased marketing, because we know there's lots of people that don't know about us, and we really want to do that work. Individuals, but also to groups as well that can contact lots of individuals for us. We've got new leaflets, so I can leave a few. As I said, collaboration focus, really big for us. We want to collaborate more. We want to be part of a puzzle that we know is there. I've met so many amazing groups. You only have to sit in the wellbeing meeting here to know there's so much amazing stuff. But some of our members don't access that. We just need to try and figure out if we're the barrier. If the transport's the barrier, can we fix that? Just a couple of dates. So AGM will be on the 7th of July, and we will be doing an open day at some point this year. We're also starting to do more projects. So one project we're going to be doing is the bus garden project. So this is literally going to be installing a garden on one of our buses and taking it around to all the local flower and horticulture shows. Portishead Show being one of those shows that we will be attending. We've got a group of members that are doing it. So it brought together, at the moment, there's about 8 of them who have an interest in horticulture. Many of them now don't have gardens or the ability to do gardening like they did, but it's brilliant to have people with so much knowledge in the room. They've taught me a bit, they will continue to teach me. It's also a really brilliant way to increase awareness. So just increase awareness in all the places that we serve, but in a fun way, rather than having to approach people with a leaflet and say, do you need the community bus, and they're offended that you think they're old, which isn't the case at all. But it's just a really exciting way to do that, and brilliant to bring the members together to do something fun. So we want to do more of that. That's really important to us. We know that we are combating isolation and loneliness just through offering the services, but the more we can do to get people involved and get to know each other and build support networks, we know that how much impact that can have on people's lives. So if we do more, great. That's me.
Okay.
Any questions?
Brilliant. Look forward to the bus coming around.
Oh, yeah, it'll be here, don't worry.
Thank you, David.
Thanks. That's absolutely brilliant what you do, and I think really good value for money. I just wondered, in terms of getting the word out there and getting more people knowing about the service, what kind of level of spare capacity do you have on the buses and the transport that you currently operate? Because I guess one challenge is if you get the word out there more and more, you get more buses and more volunteers.
Absolutely. And that's been a massive thing for me since I started. I was like, we need to get our marketing needs to be complete. Like my background's fundraising and marketing. So I was like, I've got to redo everything. We need to let everyone know. But you're completely right. And it actually, our vehicles, although they function at good capacity, we've got more in the vehicles. It's volunteers and drivers where we struggle. However, at the moment we have 21 volunteer drivers, which is amazing. And there's people that come in on a week and say, have you got any volunteering and things? And we have to say, no, we haven't got any this week. So I think we're ready, which is why we're doing this now and building this marketing stuff now. We're ready to take on some more capacity. And we've changed the way we schedule a bit to be more streamlined and actually realise that volunteers don't mind doing a job and then another job in between, and then because actually if they're giving you a half day or a day, they're quite happy to fill it. And we've often just given one job per person, so I think we've improved the system. So I think we are ready to take on more people now.
Marianne.
Thank you, Kate. In the last AGM, I think there was a question that some people raised about payment on the buses.
Yes.
Has that been resolved now for you?
We will keep taking cash. There was a suggestion that we would go cashless, but our audience aren't quite ready yet for completely cashless. We absolutely take contactless payments, and that's fine, and it works for some people. But for others, I don't think at the moment it will change just yet. As much as I'd like to not have.
So you let them use their cash still there. That's fun.
We are still taking cash, yes.
So, Mike,
Mindful of tonight's agenda, I will just ask whether you're prepared to come along and perhaps have a meeting with us, because we're very keen on buses, as Paul said. So can we arrange something?
Absolutely, yeah.
Good.
And I have obviously been hearing from Dave
Yes,
a bit.
I thought you had.
I'm trying to link up with North Somerset Council. I have been trying to do a bit of work on it, but yes, we want to carry on that conversation. Definitely. Yeah, you are.
all right. Last question, yeah, Jenny. Yeah.
It actually isn't a question, but I just want to say I'm really pleased to see that you're helping or supporting working with home to school transport, because I know it's been an absolute headache for probably about 15 years for North Somerset, trying to find the resource, get the right people and the right children, etc. So it's a really creative way of, you say, you pivoting.
Yes.
I think that's to be really commended.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's been very interesting to hear from all three of you, because and seeing how things join up and link up, and so it's really good. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right. So let's move on. I think we've done item 6. Let's move back through the agenda. Minutes of the previous meeting. Should we do that one? Anyone got any questions on the minutes? No? Anyone like to propose we accept them? Go on, Marianne. Yeah. Marianne proposed, John second. All in favour? All right. Okay. Right, I'm just going to work backwards through the chair's update, and we'll start with an item that's not on the chair's update.
That's correct.
So let's have a quick word. There's obviously been a lot of stuff this week about Tower Farm development and the environmental impact assessment. So we've obviously, for those who don't know, there's a draft proposal from the developer or a developer to build 400 plus houses up at Tower Farm, which would be an environmental disaster, and it would Western Bigwood and the whole of the Cordano Valley. So the town council has written to North Somerset asking for an environmental impact assessment to be completed. For a very frustrating and bizarre reason, the town council is not counted as a statutory consultee on this particular part of the planning process. We can only speculate how broken the planning process is, but anyway, we ignored the fact that we're not a consultee, so we sent them a letter anyway. We've also, David, thank you, written to Natural England, who is a statutory consultee, has requested that the impact assessment is completed. But during this work, well, we kind of rediscovered the pipeline underneath underneath the Tower Farm fields, under the bottom fields. I don't know, Mike, did you want to just bring us up to date, or do you want me to talk about what that is and what's going on there?
Well, this is the old oil pipeline, which runs, as Paul's saying, under the sum of the site. It's in the lower fields, and it runs around about 100 meters at one end on the west end from the curtilage of Weston Bigwood to about tapering down to about 50 meters as it sweeps around the edge of the site and disappears down towards Wetlands Lane or thereabouts. You can tell where it is because it's got the little white markers through the hedge and so on. So with Exium saying that this pipeline runs through the site, they have objected strongly, although further in the letter, which they sent to North Somerset Council, they do say that it is therefore critical that all construction and design work affecting a high pressure pipeline is discussed and agreed with Exium before the objection can be removed and before any work on site. So there is a bit of a caveat there that they're not sort of saying it's not impossible to develop some of this site or part or all of it. We don't really know. I don't know how they go about dealing with pipelines running through sites. How deep is it below the surface of the ground, etc., etc. Anyway, there's a little map showing it here.
Okay, so yeah, did you want to comment on that at all, Bob, or did you want to speak later? Or no? Yeah, yeah, yes, indeed, yeah. Okay, so Sue, sorry, yeah, come to the microphone, please. Yeah, yeah.
If I can just add to something that Bob has just said, is that in the document that the people have sent into North Somerset, they refer it as an
Cold War relic, was it?
That's it, yes,
Yeah.
Cold War. So in other words, it's not used now. It's irrelevant. Sorry, they got it completely wrong.
Yeah, clearly, so it is part of a 2,000-kilometer fuel pipeline that runs right across the country. Given the state of the world at the moment, I think it's become even more important than it was before. Okay, that was that one. If we reverse up the order, just to signpost, there are some consultations coming on. There's a North Somerset Citizens Panel, if people would like to be part of that. There's a public space protection order consultation. For those who don't know what that is various kind of rules and regulations you can have about certain parts of town. So there's for example, there's a PSPO around the marina for not dropping dog mess or picking it up. So things like that. Other various antisocial behaviour type orders. I think there's one on the lake grounds as well. So there's just an opportunity to have a look at it and see if there's any other areas that should be brought into that or even removed. So that's what that is. There's a consultation on the expansion of the West of England Combined Authority into North Somerset, which again people are welcome to fill in. We would encourage them to do so. So moving up, we have the Lord Lieutenant of Woods. So for those who don't know, every county, every ceremonial county has a Lord Lieutenant, and we are in Somerset. I'll come to you in a minute, Janet.
It's lieutenant in England, Mr. Chair.
Did I call it? Do I have to apologise? Right, there's the Lord Lieutenant here. That one. Look at that. Left. It's not pronounced like that. Anyway. Is it all right? Okay, I'm sure I won't be able to say the other one. So anyway, we have a ceremonial officer for Somerset. Indeed, who's been through to us. So we're in Somerset, so it's the old ceremonial county. So although we've got the North Somerset University Authority, they cover that whole area. So, and they organise community awards and recognition. They did one in Somerset, in Clevedon last year, and they're looking to do one in Portishead this year. So more information to follow. But obviously we'll be reaching out to the community groups and individuals who might be well deserving of such an award. There are many who might be. So, okay. So the office staff, I've been talking to the ceremonial officers staff. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. Let's move on quickly. The Star Council Award. So yeah, we were pleased to be shortlisted for our work on climate by the local government associations. So Mike and I went up to the House of Lords to before it was abolished. Yeah, there's lots of other councils there. There was various other awards like Councillor of the Year and Clerk of the Year, which obviously Steve's going to be winning next year. Yeah. So it was a very worthwhile event, actually. It was very interesting, wasn't it? It was good to talk to other councils and see what they were doing. And yeah, we were very, our MP showed us around the House of Lords and House of Commons, and it was a very good host. We should thank Sadiq for doing that. He was certainly gave us some of his time, so that was good. So on the devolution side, I just wanted to signpost we're going to have a meeting at the Lake Grounds for all residents, and obviously the sports clubs and other interested groups in the Lake Grounds, which will be on the 20th of April in the evening in Somerset Hall. More information of that will follow. There will be plenty of communication and publicity around that. The idea is basically to get everyone together, because clearly we're looking to take on the Lake Grounds, and although there's been various consultations they were in the past, and we need to get people together to say what are their issues, how does it work. Well, we kind of have a rough idea about how things work in the Lake Grounds. It's basically run by volunteers, but you know how we can help them in the future, what their ideas are, and try and help put together a plan for the future. Obviously, we won't be able to do everything we might like to do for the community in the first 3 months, but we're looking to build out a plan for investment over the years. So that'll be 20th of April, or evening in Somerset Hall. Further details will follow. Okay. The annual residents meeting is on the 6th of May. For that meeting, we're going to have guest speakers from the Railway Group and also from the Lido or Lido, depending on how you pronounce it. So, or the swimming pool. Yeah, so also, obviously, there'll be the normal chance for people to ask questions, input ideas, raise issues, and so forth. I'm also hoping to get a few other of the smaller community groups to come along and maybe share some stories as well, and make it a community evening. So that's the plan for the annual residents meeting. Again, so publicity will be coming out soon. Dealing with unauthorised encampments. So we have an item in the confidential section. So I'll just explain what it is and why it's there. But clearly, nearly every summer we have an authorised encampment, or at least one, sometimes more. So we're looking to have a contract basically with a company, a bailiff company that is expert in dealing with such unauthorised encampments, so that it'll be like a call-off arrangement, so that we obviously will have their phone numbers, so we can talk to them immediately. We've used some in the past. They are very expert on the law, and actually more expert on the police, because the various laws they use to resolve the situation I think it's under common law, if I get it right. Anyway, it's good so we're looking to get just access to that expertise so that we can deal with issues as efficiently, fairly, and effectively as possible. The reason it's in the confidential item, there's some commercial stuff to discuss about prices and so forth, but basically that's what we'll be discussing. Road parking charges, right. Okay, so the Wraith Road car parking charges were imposed on the 1st of October 2025, which is nearly 6 months ago. So I think at the time we said a lot of us were skeptical that it was actually going to make any money and probably would cause just disruption around the town. I think we've all seen a pretty much 80% empty car park on pretty much every day, anecdotally. But anyway, North Somerset does a 6-monthly review of the or any car parking installation. So they do that anyway. So we thought it would be good to write to them with, as they're going to do a review, ask them for some information, which is listed in the report. So we're asking for total revenue gained each month and some monthly revenue figures broken down by the number of permit holders, 1, 2 hour, 3 hour, all day tickets, number of resident permits, if any people have asked for permits but not got them, and then some monthly cost information as well, and just utilisation. So we'd like to understand whether it's actually making any money or not, and if so, how much, and have they considered the rest of potentially negative economic impact on the town. You would have seen in Nailsea that the town council has done a well, they've basically done a survey of local businesses. Many of them report 20 or 30% reduction in their takings. I think in Nailsea the situation is different because there are a lot more surface car parks owned by North Somerset, where we only have one small one in Portishead, so it probably has less impact. But anyway, I suppose there's any comments on sending the letter, the information we're asking for, David.
Thanks, Paul. I mean, it looks like you got a pretty comprehensive list of questions. Could I just add to that? We asked North Somerset for the cost to them of installing the service and keep it ticking over.
Yeah. So cost of installing and maintaining the service. Yeah. Okay. We'll add that. Yeah. Thank you. Any other points people would like to add? Yeah. Unless obviously we're asking for some information, basically. Yeah. Janet. Yeah.
Do they actually send parking people around?
They do. Yeah. I've seen them. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Because you don't see them anywhere else.
Okay.
And also whether they have raised any fines.
Oh yeah, we could ask for the number of fines and the number of tickets given. Yeah. Okay, you got those, Steve? Yeah. Okay. John.
One couple of other things you might like to add. There will be some large items that will be regular expenditure, resurfacing and white lining. Do you want to ask how those will be covered and accounted for?
Yeah. That's a very good point because I know it was resurfaced 6 or 7 years ago and it was expensive. So,
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right. So okay, we'll just write a letter, and it's basically what happens in North Somerset. They goes to one of their scrutiny committees, but it's be obviously more effective if they're armed with the right questions. So that's what we thought we would. So when we send it in, Steve, we should also send it to the chair of the scrutiny committee, who's a guy called Councillor Steve Bridget. So he's a North Somerset councillor. So we should send it to him as well. So okay, the chair's update has concluded. All right.
Chair, you met the MP at the Lions Wellbeing as well.
I didn't see him. No, he was there. Yeah, but
Oh, you didn't see?
No, but he was. Yeah.
He came to our stand and he spoke to Roger and I, and Mike was there too, and a very nice lady came from Vision North Somerset and sang our praises about the Wellbeing Partnership to Sadiq.
Very good. Excellent. We have public participation. Is there any? Did Bob, do you want to say something? Yeah, come. Is there anyone online?
Still on, I think. Yeah. Just a quick one on the oil thing. You might not have heard on the news if you came out tonight, but we're giving up a bunch of oil guess where it's coming from? I won't tell you. But apparently they're going to release a load of oil into the marketplace so that keep the price down.
Yeah.
I think some of that's going to come from somewhere under our local area.
Interesting.
The main point I wanted to raise, and this is like, I'm the motoring correspondent, I know, but this week they closed the A369 during the working day. There were no notices to say that you couldn't get into Bristol. And I certainly didn't know it was going to happen. Apparently it was to cut some trees down from ash dieback or something. But it was just crazy because people just drove off the roundabout, going down the roundabout, which they'd obviously resurfaced one side at least now. But they drive in towards Bristol, just keep going, and then the road's closed.
So where was it closed this time? On the
It was closed at the junction to go into Pill.
yeah,
If
okay.
you're coming the other way. So you come
Yeah, yeah.
down in the dip, come up the top, road closed.
Yeah.
Well, by the time you've got there, the roads to get to Bristol aren't anywhere near you, really. You've got the lanes, which I took because my wife Carol had a hospital appointment, which we just about made. But those roads aren't really serviceable. And of course, what it needed was something straight off the Cordana roundabout to say, yeah, I've got onto Nash Hill.
Yeah.
You know, there was just no signal to do it. And apparently this council didn't know
No.
that they were doing it. So I was hoping, well, there is one North Somerset councillor here. I'm hopefully she's taking notes. The other thing to do in North Somerset Council.
Oh,
is-
but I think we should probably we should write it to North Somerset as well. 'Cause
yeah, I mean, it was just, all it needed was a sign to say that you couldn't get into Bristol.
yeah, I was caught by it last week as well, and I nearly missed my train because you know
Yeah,
it's
it's just crackers to just shut a road.
hopelessly. So yeah, could we just make a note? Maybe Amy can get hold of North Somerset Comms and just ask for a fuller update. So, yeah, sorry, Bobcom. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine. The next part of the motoring correspondent is the pothole farm on the top of Avon Way. There's by the bus stop, but the bus stop won't be there much longer. I think it's going to collapse into the road or something. That's been getting worse and worse and worse. And it's quite amusing to watch a bus lurch into it and out again. So hopefully if you were on it, you were still all right. There's then 3 potholes between there and the chemists. They came and did one. They've marked all 3 at least twice, and they came and did one. I mean, it's just an utter nonsense. And then there's the water cavern on the Esplanade. Is that the right pronunciation? Esplanade, or should I just say Fence Road or whatever? Esplanade's all right? Okay, that's good, right. But there is a pothole on the Esplanade that is massive. It really is. Question came up today, I mentioned Steve, that road, is that part of what we would take over?
Yeah.
Because I don't believe, it's all 3 roads not adopted.
That's great. Yeah, they're all private roads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we need, obviously, you need, you need to make sure they resurface some of that road before we get anywhere near taking it on. I think the problem they would have is the same as the car park one, because it's not level. Trying to tarmac a slope is extremely difficult because it tends to go to the bottom. So that was something on that. And then the last one, and I mentioned it at the planning meeting, they did the survey to prove that there was no traffic problem of sending everybody to the new houses down road beyond where the school people park. Is there any chance, anybody know how much it costs to do one of those? Is there any chance the council could do one right at the top of the road so that it could actually show the number of cars that come down there?
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, I honestly don't know, but we can have a look at. So we'll investigate that.
I mean, maybe if it needs funding, we could help you.
Yeah, okay, we'll find out how much it costs.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are people.
Because I mean, that's the only sensible thing to do, is to do it at the top of the road.
Yeah, okay, that's a really good idea because you know, the best way to defeat planning applications is have better data than theirs.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Mike.
Yes, thank you. Following the devastating fire opposite Glasgow Central Station, which is alleged to have started in a vape shop, I'm concerned about the 2 that we have in Portishead, one on the High Street and the one on the top of the hill, insofar as they both have or will have accommodation above them, particularly the one on the bottom where it's going to get turned into an HMO with up to at least 6 people living there, with just the one staircase to get out. And so we just don't know what's possible in these situations. I'm sure that they didn't envisage anything like what happened in that particular building, which is now destroyed in Glasgow. Could have unfolded as a consequence of selling these products. But I would just like North Somerset to be aware of what they have granted at the High Street in respect to the HMO above it and the accommodation above the one up on Avon Way. Yes, yes, indeed so. Yes. Oh, yes, you're right. I mean, it's a hall rather than the accommodation. Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. All right. Good point, Mike. Yeah. Janet, come.
Can I add to Bob's devastating a submission about potholes? The 3 that are outside the school at High Down, I mean, honestly, have you seen them? And I wrote on our WhatsApp page last week that more vehicles, heavy duty vehicles going along Down Road and up Avon Way to do some building work. Well, I will be very, very surprised if Down Road actually survives it at all, because it's in since I've been here, it's been resurfaced 3 times. And in each case, it lasts about 6 months before the road starts to collapse again. So heavy lorries on that road, it will not survive. Is North Somerset going to do something about making sure that it's in a better state before the lorries start using it? And what will they do if they destroy the road? Will they make the developer pay?
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone online want to speak? No? Okay.
I just want to support what Mike Johnson said about the 2 vape shops. And I am concerned, the vape shop on the High Street, I don't understand how it's making any money, because I've certainly never seen anybody in there. So I'm just concerned that it might be a business that's not going to be there very long, because it can't be profitable. Thank you.
Yeah, we can't really say too much, but we know that the relevant authorities are investigating. So, okay, so I'll leave it at that. So, yeah, yeah, okay, right. Thank you. Let's move on then. So item 9, we have the devolution report. Now, obviously, we were hoping to be taking on everything from North Somerset on the 1st of April. We are not there yet, because we are still doing due diligence and negotiating some of the terms. All right. It's fair to say that there's not been a lot of legal resource from North Somerset, which has slowed things down quite a bit. But anyway, we are working through the issues, and we've been greatly helped in the last few weeks by a lady called Melanie Watts, who's the Section 151 officer in North Somerset, the Director of Finance Director, I think, in language I understand. So she's been very helpful in moving roadblocks across. But so, as you know, we've obviously committed a lot of resource. We're hiring people. I said to them, well, I'll give you another 10 weeks to sort out the legal work. And that is for what we're calling the principal assets, which are the large ones. So the lake grounds, Battery Point, the golf course, Somerset Hall, Eastwood, Kilkenny Fields, basically. So at least get those sorted out. And I understand they've hired some external lawyers to help speed things up. So that will be good. So we are, as it says here, we're obviously, both councils are working together to make it happen. It's not as fast as we would like. Not surprisingly, I guess, unfortunately. Operational handover work is continuing, and Steve and Lucy, our facilities and assets managers, also been working with the relevant officers in North Somerset who've been very helpful providing information. I think it's fair to say, Steve, generally that's going well. Obviously there's a lot of assets and a lot of legal work. So really today, the recommendations are just basically to say authority to be given to the Town Council, so it's the Devolution Implementation Group, DIG, sorry, to continue discussions with North Somerset on the full basket of the assets to resolve the remaining issues, complete the legal work for all the principal assets, and agree a firm plan to complete the legal and due diligence work for remaining assets. Basically, this coming year, we'll be taking over all the grounds maintenance. North Somerset have a year to go on the Glendale contract. So in principle, we've agreed to basically take over the Portishead section of that contract, pay and manage the work ourselves, but through the Glendale contract, because we have to do it that way. Clearly, we have said to them, we're not going to pay a bean until you actually transfer the land across. Okay, so that delay means that North Somerset will not receive any funding from us towards the Glendale contract. You may also recall that we provided a subsidy of around £20,000 last year to allow them to maintain the Glendale contract at its current level. That was a 12-month only offer. It expires on the end of March, and we will not be renewing that subsidy, obviously from a negotiation point of view. But it's a lever we have to say, get on with it and transfer the land, and then we'll take over the funding of the Glendale contract and start looking after everything. So that's where we are. So first recommendation is to authority to basically to keep doing what we're doing and get to the end. And then once we've got everything tidied up and the land transfers are all ready but not yet transferred, we'll have a meeting to say, are we happy with all this or not? Okay. So obviously the legal eagles can do all of the work, and then we can then say, are we now happy? All right, David.
Thanks, Paul. I just wondered, what are our plans regarding comms going forward on devolution? I've just spoken to a couple of people in the last week or so who remain a little bit unclear about what devolution is all about.
Yeah, okay, right. So good point, David. Yeah, so we have got a full devolution prospectus which explains everything. Obviously, we'd like to publish that. I think we probably just need to take it offline and decide when we're going to do that. Because at the moment, I think it's just going to be a very brief communication, like we're still doing the work, but we're not ready to transfer on the 1st of April. I think Steve will have to chat about it. I think, yeah. I don't know. What's your view, David? How do you suggest we play it?
I think it's really important we use the opportunities of our face-to-face meetings on Fridays and Saturdays with people to talk about it.
Yeah.
A lot of it seems to be now just a matter of process. I guess that's the formality of voting on it. But I think the sooner we get things like the prospectus out there and get talking about it with people, the better, really.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. All right. Let's Steve and I will discuss that. And Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, even if much of it is saying the same as you said before, there's no harm reiterating it, because a lot of people A, begin to wonder if it's happening, they don't hear it, and B, it's just getting the message out to all people, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll sit down and Stephen and Amy and just kind of get some comms out. Yeah. Okay. Good point. Thank you very much. Okay. So item 9. Those are the recommendations. A and B. I'm going to read them out again. Anyone like to propose? John, Mike, second. All in favour? Okay. Fine. Excellent. Thank you. It's good that we've done that, because although I've said what I just said to North Somerset, we've now said it as a council, so that's our position. So, okay. So thank you for that. Moving on, item 10, we have unauthorised advertising placards in Portishead. So as you probably people notice, there's a lot of clutter around. Sometimes it gets worse at different times of year. And we're not quite sure what the policy is from North Somerset on that, and how it's how removal of placards in the wrong places, how that is dealt with. So I think we thought we ought to probably find out from North Somerset what their policy is, how it's enforced, and whether we need to do anything as a town council in addition. So I know, Mike, you raised that. Would you like to kind of lead on this? Is that?
Yes, I'm happy to do so, Chair. Yeah. I mean, it's quite complex, isn't it? Because obviously some barriers, railings are in private ownership, others aren't. So it's worth looking into, and I think it's worth having a working party to do so.
Yeah. Anyone else like to join, Mike?
Don't all rush at once.
I'm going to nominate Bob because I think he'd be up for it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. We could ask him anyway, so yeah, we'll ask him. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
If it needs a committee, I don't think it needs, I think it's finding out.
Yeah. If you find out what, then just send around a note once you find out, and then we can discuss it. So it's fine. All right, let's do that. So Mike's going to lead on that one. Okay. So number 11 is a financial item. So we obviously have, we get paid effectively twice a year. We get half the preset at the beginning of the financial year, and the other half halfway through. So that means that we have, for some of the year, we have quite a lot of money in the bank. Obviously, with the increase in the preset this year, or the coming year, we'll have more money in the bank. So we obviously need to make the money work for us as hard as possible. Insignis is a platform, like a portal, where it basically gives you, if you go into it, you can see, basically different savings schemes from different 20, 30 different providers. So you can have anything from instant access to a 3-month deposit, 6-month deposit, 12-month with 20 different providers. So it just means it makes it very easy for our RFO, the financial officer, to move things around. It also, so if you're taking out a 3-month deal with someone, it'll flag up when it's ending, and then you can have a look and they will move it over there. It means that she should be able to optimize the amount of interest we get. Whereas if you just put it all within one provider, and they'll suddenly reduce their interest rates, below the competition. So it's basically a way of maximizing the interest from our money. It comes with there's a small fee for being on the platform, but I think Rachel has talked to various other councils who think they use it, and it doesn't. They make a lot more money on it than they pay in fees. So yeah.
The fees to the deposit.
Yeah.
And the interest rate might be 3.5% to 4% at current rates.
Yeah.
So as long as your deposit is for a reasonable period of time, you're going to be strict ahead.
Yeah. All right. So the recommendations are to approve adoption of the Insignis Cash platform, authorise the RFO to complete the necessary application documents, agree the bank signatories, and implement dual authority for the fund transfers. Okay. So before we get to the vote, David, you had a question?
Sorry, it's just a detail in the report. The report mentions the FCA guarantee limit of 120k, which savers are all aware of. So it's a question for John, really. Does that safety net also apply to town councils and local authorities? And if not,
unfortunately, all forms of government, local authority, municipal authorities, county councils and such like are one of the specific exclusions from that scheme. As are virtually all trading companies except for sole traders. The scheme is targeted at personal investors only.
So it's a risk we take in any investment we make. So it doesn't, it applies to Insignis as much as it would if we had it in separate accounts.
It makes no difference to that risk. Where the risk comes is in our choice of counterparty.
Yeah. Okay. Good question, though. But yeah.
Choice of
Excuse me, what's
Just
counterparty?
explain a counterparty.
It's the person we lend the money to.
I thought it was.
One of the documents in the agenda papers is called a heat map. If you refer to that, you will find that there's a list of banks and their respective credit ratings and the interest rates they offer. They vary from the Agricultural Bank of China to HSBC Bank. In fact, the China Bank has the better rating.
Well, probably the safest bet. Can't do it.
It's just to say thanks to Rachel and John for all the hard work they've done on this, because it looks like if we adopt this policy, it's going to make the council, up to £45,000 a year.
That is my
And
best
so-
guess on current information. I only put 25 in the budget.
Yeah. Well, we'll recognise that. So
He's a very cautious man, and I'm married to him.
Is that the mattresses?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish it was my mattress.
Okay, are we okay with the recommendations then? Would someone like to propose that we go ahead with this? John? Yeah. David, second. All in favour? Thank you. No, it's good work, and yeah, look forward to that coming in place.
I'm abstaining from that, but I just don't deal with interest personally.
That's fine. Yes. Good point. Finance updates and related decisions. So we've got to consider a number of reports. So let's first of all, are there any questions or comments about any of the reports that we've received from Rachel? Do you want to just give us a quick summary, John? Yeah.
As far as the income and expenditure account for January is concerned, it is absolutely devoid of surprises, except that we appear to have made a surplus of just over £200,000 so far this year. That is fictitious in the sense that there are an awful lot of bills relating to devolution which are coming through much slower than we had anticipated. All the work on due diligence relating to Somerset Hall, the legal fees on land transfers and so on. We still expect that those will have caught up by the end of the year. And as a result, the forecast surplus of 50,000 that I put into the budget papers is still, I think, a reasonably sensible one. But we're not going to go bust this year.
Good.
The February results should be available later this week.
Thank you.
On the other papers, which are, if I remember rightly, the summary of bank balances is entirely routine documents. I've checked all the numbers. So there are no surprises there. The IT and digital use policy, I think, it comes up as a separate item.
Yeah.
And the only other point I would make on financial affairs generally is that the Hall's booking system is now live, but it has hit a couple of hiccups and it won't be fully operational until April the 1st. The booking side of it works perfectly well. There have been some unexpected hiccups in actually getting the cash handling sorted out.
Yeah. Okay.
But they will be solved.
Yeah, I see. So basically, there's the first two of those are just for noting, so we don't need to vote on those. But we have a couple of recommendations, which is to approve the town council's IT and digital use policy and the document retention and disposal policy. David, yeah.
I just ask a quick question of John about the finances. I think he knows what I'm going to ask, but I noticed, I read the expenditure document, and it looks from the document like we're 50% over budget on, overspent on the Halls project.
Yes.
But I think that's because of timing of expenditure.
It is about timing. When the budget was put together, we expected the Halls project to happen a lot faster. And most of it would have been in previous year's accounts. In fact, that turned out to be an over-optimistic assumption. In 24-25, we underspent by a massive amount, and in 25-26, we overspent by an almost equal and opposite amount. But still, if you add the 2 years together, we're still coming in lower than the amount authorised by the council.
Thanks.
Okay, so moving back to the policies, we've got two to approve. Let's do them both together. So we approve the Portishead Town Council IT and digital use policy and the document retention and disposal policy. Would you like to propose that? John, Mariam, second. Yeah, sorry, could we just do the vote? Yeah, all in favour? Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. Sorry, do you have any questions?
Sorry, I mean, I'm really happy with both policies. I was just concerned about one issue on the digital policy. Sorry. Too much page. Yeah, just two minor changes. 2.3 on the document retention policy that suggests that annual reports from groups we fund are kept for talks about not keeping annual reports for from other organisations, but it strikes me it'd be sensible for us to keep annual reports from groups like, for example, Nailsea District Transport, and some of the groups we fund, so we can just look at change in activity over time and change in spend over time. If we were to sort of get rid of those sorts of annual reports, we'd lose the ability just to review levels of service and trends over time. It's a really minor point. And I also wondered in relation to section 4.3 whether we actually have a records office. This one might want to minor points. Otherwise I'm really happy with these, but just small details to be corrected, I think.
All right, we'll deal with those details. Yeah. That's cool.
Excuse me, do we have a records cupboard?
We've got a cupboard.
That was sections 2.3 and 4.3.
Okay, thanks, David. Yeah, cool. I guess if you've got any questions, you can get back to David, Steve. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. Right, number 13. So customer relationship management system. So the staff have been looking at different tools which can help with obviously dealing with customer inquiries, issues, especially as we're going to be taking on more assets. So we need some automation, workflow, and so forth, and recording of the people's queries so that we can get back to them properly and all that kind of good stuff. So the team have looked at a number of tools, and you've chosen the best one, which comes to a total of 17,928. I mean, that's over 2 years, isn't it? So it's roughly split 50-50 between the 2 years. So I mean, it's a lot of money, but basically it's going to improve efficiency in the office. Frankly, we won't be able to cope without something like that. So basically, that's the business case for having it. So, any questions on that one?
Well, I guess for the purposes of this, obviously, there's an opportunity to trial this system and be satisfied, over the course of that 2 years. And then if we want to extend that contract, then we will come back for further funding.
Yeah, I guess we can assume it's going to be of a similar cost. But yeah, sorry, Mike. Yeah.
Steve, do we have this sort of system up and running in other councils? And presumably there's a bit of a template that you're following.
Yeah, there's been a lot of research into what other town councils have got in place, and that's partly informed which of the systems that we've decided to go for. It's quite common in other town councils to have this type of system, particularly and as we're moving into devolution. Yeah.
Yes, the staff have taken reference calls with at least a couple of other councils to A, get a reference, and B, find out how they use it. So yeah, okay. All right. So anyone like to propose this, Marianne? Yeah. Anyone like to second? Jenny? All those in favour? Yeah. Thank you very much. Sue, North Somerset Council report. Do you have anything you'd like to let us know of what's going on? I think I've seen Sue out with a spade in there.
Right, well, I thought I'd just say a little bit about some of my most recent casework. and the most recent one was actually somebody very concerned about the removal of the hedges alongside Highdown School, along the downs. And I did speak to the school, and I know that they are, it was them that actually took it out because some of it was not in very good condition. And also within that, there's various, pipelines and all sorts of things. And the children go in and out and everything else. So they are actually going to do something there. It will not be left bare. And they will be putting a new fence. It will not be blue like the front of the school. It will be green. So it doesn't show up because of course there will be trees and everything else going along there. And also, excuse me, the big containers will also be painted green as well. So in other words, it won't show up quite so much. I've also had somebody concerned about parking, and that was really because they were having difficulty getting out of their drive, and we're all aware of that situation. So I wasn't actually able to help her. I couldn't do what she would have liked to have done. I've also had somebody complaining that their recycling hadn't been taken, and it wasn't just them, it was a part of a road. So that I immediately got on and got that sorted. I had somebody talking about their bus pass because they wanted to renew that, and they had trouble getting hold of North Somerset on their website and doing that. Again, sorted that. And the big thing of my most recent one, which has come in this week, is obviously talking about speeding on Nor Road, and I do want to have a word with the town council about that one. But I've also, of course, as all
So David's the person to speak to about
lovely,
that.
right? Yeah. But yes, the big one that has been already mentioned is about the Tower Farm environment impact assessment. What a mouth! But yes, we're on that as well. Don't worry, Nicola and I are well aware. We've spoken to Sadiq as well. I was at the park play on Saturday morning, and he was there, and I had a good chat. And then Nicola was there as well, and so she also spoke to him. So yes, North Somerset are obviously trying to get all of the information, and then they'll make a decision. I think I know which way it'll go, but I can't say for certain. I wouldn't want to say, oh yes, they'll say yes or no, because it's for them to say. But going on, I'm obviously taking part in quite a lot of meetings. They're all online, except for the main council ones. And recently we've had updates about Metro West, and I know that I'm sure that the town council has also had those as well. Have you had one? No, obviously not. Right. Okay. But yes, we get regular updates about that, and also Banwell bypass. So yes,
Actually, Amy
so
gets
there's lots and lots going on.
Amy gets regular updates from Metro West.
Yeah.
So that's fine. We're getting that through.
Yeah.
So just you going back, you said about if the planning officer makes the wrong decision.
No, it's
Hang on a sec. So if he makes the wrong decision, you as councillor, you can call it in, can't you?
this is not a planning application.
But it's still planning. Surely you can take it to the planning committee and tell them they've got the
No,
right.
because it's not a planning issue,
Well,
because
that-
that isn't there.
that's
But
not-
I
that's-
mean, I
Sorry,
mean,
sir, that's not right.
yeah, but he is, I mean, I'm not on planning, so
Right,
I don't know
okay.
how it works.
So,
really.
okay,
But-
we'll speak to Tim then, because he's on planning, but you know,
Yeah,
if they make the wrong decision, we're not just to sit here and let them do it, so.
yeah, I mean, they have not made up their mind. They are, as far as I'm aware, they are still waiting for some more information. But everything that they've had is on the actual planning portal anyway, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So there's quite a lot on there, but that decision will be made obviously very soon.
But the councillors are in charge of the council, not the officers, so
Yeah,
you
but-
guys need to be stepping in if they get it wrong.
But
That's what we're
Yeah,
expecting
yeah,
you to do.
Yeah. I mean, I think I know which way it probably will go, but I'm not saying
Yeah,
that
well-
because no decision has been made yet.
Anyway, we'll
Fine, fine.
we'll deal with it when it comes, but hopefully that we won't need to
Yeah,
do any
I mean,
more.
I don't want to say sort of any more on that. But just to say that I'm also part of a 3-weekly waste and recycling, which is only sort of for half an hour, and we had it this morning, and yes, the booking system is doing very well, going very well. And we did ask the officers there about the app. Had more people taken it up, and now 42,000 people have now got that North Somerset app, which is a huge amount of people. It's amazing. So I thought I'd just leave that with you.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you. Yeah. Mariam, yeah.
Just a quick question we had at the allotment committee meeting where they asked if there is a limit to how many times each individual person can go to the booking system, and then whether they're considering long-term to eventually make it, add a fee to it or not. Jenny, was that the kind of question they asked? At the AGM, the allotment meeting yesterday, they asked about how frequently they can go to the.
They can go every day if they.
Yes, that they were concerned. This is North Western Allotment Association. Actually, were concerned because the person that removes most of the waste and rubbish from the site is a member of their association. He's there every day as a volunteer, and he cannot use a smartphone, doesn't use one. So they were just really concerned about how are they now going to get their waste to, so we need to find a way that.
Right, okay. If he is going in his car, then yes, he will obviously arrange the booking, and I'll go back to that in a minute. If you have somebody who does not have a car, who has green waste or any other sort of waste, they can still go to the booking system, but it will be in the name of the person who is driving. So it's not the person whose rubbish it is necessarily. Say you have a neighbour who does not drive. How would they get the? They would then contact a friend who has a car. They will then put everything in that car, because when you arrive, your number plate must match booking system. So in other words, if you haven't got a car, you contact somebody with a car, they then do the booking. So it isn't just, oh, it's me, I've got to put it in my name. It is whoever is driving.
Yeah, no, the issue is that the person who is driving, it is in his own
That's right.
private car
Yeah.
he does not have access to
Yes, this,
either.
yeah.
He doesn't use a smartphone
No,
or a
no.
laptop
Yes,
or
I,
anything.
it's something that has been raised. And you can do it through the library. And they will help you do the booking.
You've got to go to the library to be able to
Yeah.
take your rubbish to the
You-
ship.
Yeah, the other way is to ring North Somerset's number. You will then get not a person, but you will get AI. And then if there is, if that doesn't sort it, which it may well not, then it will be passed on to a person.
So I called that number last week and I got the automated AI that said immediately, we are busy right now, try again later. Off.
Sweet, the road.
It hung up on me.
I will take that up because that shouldn't have happened, should it?
That was hilarious. No.
Right, okay.
I didn't know that they could be busy. But I will definitely take that up, thank you.
All right, thanks, Sue. I guess what can say, it's bedding in the system, so go on, Janet.
I have to say that too many people assume too much. And there are so many people of my age and above. I put somebody put the NSC app on my phone and I accessed it and I got bloody TikTok and I still don't know why.
Right, okay. Brilliant.
That shouldn't have happened.
Brilliant. All right, we'll see you dancing up to the tip anyway. All right, thanks very much. What's that? That is impressive, actually. Okay, I'm going to move through the agenda because I've got to close at 9:30. So, but let's look. We've covered the Tower Farm development. Emma's not here. Community matters, staffing and finance.
Hang on there.
I'm just going to say I'm going to skip through it if you're okay, because because we've got some other items at the end that we need to go through to. Yeah, well, okay. So that's not the reason. The reason is I need to finish the meeting at 9:30. So the communications, I think, so we've got some important things to communicate. I think obviously we've got the 3 grant, basically our statutory citizens advice review centre. So we very much need to publicise what those people do. And clearly, I think we need to publicise the fact we're right into North Somerset with the road car parking charges, and pretty much annual residents meeting and so forth. We already discussed, don't we? So, is there anything else, Michael? Yeah, the devolution. We're going to work on a particular communication. The Lord Lieutenant Awards. I think we'll say something more once we've got. Yes, where we've got a bit more information about that, and we should signpost the various consultations. So anything else, Mike?
Me?
Communication.
Oh, you skipped over the plan. No.
Well,
the only thing I would mention is still the shows. At some point, there's a communication about the Economic Development Fund that we've been working together on.
Yeah.
With North Somerset Council, and it sounds like they're waiting till all the grants have been agreed before they're going to make any publicity. Have I got that right? Yes. I just want to check that because I think that's really important to show what organised that. I know it goes out in the minutes, but I think a press release is really important in around that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so let's make a note of that.
I think, sorry, Mike, I agree with you. I also think they ought to be invited here for a session.
Yeah, down the road. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the date of the next meeting is Wednesday, the 13th of May. which will be the annual town council meeting as well on the same day. Okay. Right, I'm now going to read the notice exclusion of the public and press under the Public Bodies Act 1960. Members of the public and press are required to leave the meeting at item 20 due to sensitive and confidential nature of the matters to be discussed. All in favour of doing that? Raise your hands. Thank you very much. Thank you.